Yo, what it do, family? High value basketball. We are back once again. The best basketball commentary on this side of the planet. You dig? Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. We got to talk about something that a lot of people do not see coming. Something that's actually already here, technically speaking. And that is the new era of the NBA. When we talk about eras, we generally talk eras in response to who the superstar was leading that particular time. You know, of course, we harken back to the Jordan era of the 90s. We harken back to the, some call it the Kobe era, some call it the Tim Duncan era, but the Lakers, Spurs era. And then, of course, we have somewhat currently, the LeBron era, and basically everything that defines how the landscape of the NBA looks, what the current strategies are, how the player temperament is, though all those sorts of things, fan expectations, all of those things are set by the different eras, and they're usually attributed to a star player or a couple of star players who are emblematic of the ethos of the NBA. So with that being said, knowing that we were presently or currently, formerly, whatever, in the LeBron era, him being the face of the league, I think we need to really talk about how the fact that era is actually already over. Even though LeBron and the Lakers and things of that nature and a couple of other players all still take up the headlines like they are the players that are the face of the NBA. But the reality is, the new crop of players, the new era, the new style of play is actually already here. And some of us may still be simply hanging on to what is no longer actually the face of the league. Hear me out. This same thing that I'm talking about, it actually applies into the LeBron/KD era that we are currently in or formerly leaving, whichever. It's not just about LeBron. Because when we talk about the LeBron KD era, we're simply talking about the player generated super team era. We already know LeBron and his journey, him joining up with Miami to get past Boston, and that whole thing turned into what it turned into. KD does essentially the same thing in his own kind of way. He one-ups LeBron with this player empowerment, build your own super team with your homies or with your comrades thing. And those two gentlemen essentially became the face of the NBA, for better or for worse. Cavaliers Warriors was already anticipated for literally 5 straight years, amongst the fact that KD and LeBron simply took over the headlines because those two individual players, they literally tilted the entire balance of the NBA with their moves. LeBron with every move that he makes, because he doesn't just move himself. He sets up these ridiculously attention seeking, but just these ridiculously big situations that cause a lot of headlines to be either taken up or a lot of players to be moved. LeBron is always doing that, tilting the power of the balance of the NBA. And same thing, K did as well. Of course, he did so with Golden State, and then he did so again with Brooklyn. These moves that these players have made in the height of their era literally changed the expectations that fans have across the whole NBA landscape. When Miami was who Miami was, people were pissed because they were like, there's no chance for anybody else to win. With Golden State, Golden State was with Kevin Durant, everybody was pissed because the whole balance of power was shifted into their side. So this whole thing about these dudes is really about how they have put themselves at such a high level. They earn the right to build teams in their image, if we're going to be fair, because they were or are, whatever, some of the best players ever at their position, not just of the era, ever. So GM's giving a little bit of power to them was not necessarily a bad thing, but it went too far. The whole playing with friends thing, instead of building out competent teams with competent players, regardless if they're your buddy or not, that is ultimately the downfall for both LeBron and KD. And it's the downfall of them in accelerating them leaving out of championship contention, but as well as being legitimately competitive. These two stars are going to have their careers go out in a whimper instead of triumph, because they refuse to just allow real continuity, real organization building take place. They've allowed it to be all about them. And because that is what's happened, they have shaved off additional 2-3 years of championship expectation and have pushed in the new era of teams and players that are going to usurp them, because these teams are better. The players themselves individually may not be better, but the teams definitively are. And let's take a journey, because LeBron is bad at it, and we'll talk about KD too. LeBron has a history of wanting to play with his friends instead of competent players. He tried it in Miami. He was mad at Pat Riley because they sent away his friend Mike Miller. He made Miami waste a pick on Shabazz Napier, his favorite player in the draft, regardless of the fact that they didn't need him on the squad, and nor was he that good of a player. Back in Cleveland, second stint in Cleveland, after Kyrie left, he brought in D Wade and started him at the expense of J.R. Smith. They sent away in LA. He sent away most of the young core for AD. That crippled their future. And then on top of crippling their future, after that, went on a second step, chose THT over Caruso, got rid of the rest of the young players, and then brought in Westbrook, who's his buddy chum friend because he knows the guy and he's another superstar, versus getting more competent players like DeRozan and such. And now the Lakers' crippled future is literally gone. They are hanging on to those futile, fragile draft picks. Meanwhile, the Lakers currently might be in the tank unintentionally, and the pick that could be possibly even lead to a Victor Wembanyama in the future belongs to the Pelicans, who are actually running away with the league right now with both the pick and a player that could have been on their team for the future that isn't. This is the type of stuff that is accelerating the end of LeBron's championship contention, but also the end of his relevancy while still being a player. Hey, yo, pause. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. You already know how I value basketball. Appreciate you. And I appreciate your boy back, and hit that button. All right, carry on. KD, he's barely any better. Of course, we know he made the biggest punk move ever by joining the Warriors after damn near beating them and losing. And then he left the team and started the downfall of Russell Westbrook. Of course, as part of his own fault because he never got better, but still started the tailspin of his career when they could have stayed together and been potential legends. And then as well, he goes on and then gets punked by Draymond, and then he blows up what could be a potential dynasty. An actual dynasty level team is under the belt of the Warriors with KD and is gone, because that whole I can't play with people who I'm not comfortable with. I can't play with people who challenge me. I can't deal with a situation where my coworkers aren't people who I can go to dinner with every night. He leaves a dynasty. Oh, but wait, then it goes on. In similar fashion, when he goes to another team, he makes the Nets fire Kenny Atkinson, who was a very good coach. He benches Jared Allen, who is an all-star, for DeAndre Jordan, who's barely getting minutes. And then they go and give away Karis LeVert, Taurean Prince, 3 first-round picks, crippling their future. And then they go bring in James Harden, who doesn't fit and is basically the same play with my friends, and build a incompetent team because they had no defense whatsoever and a flawed roster because they're too championship heavy. So when someone goes down, oh, look what happens. They lose. So then you get rid of him, and then you got the last remaining bits of continuity on that team, and then bring in Ben Simmons, who is a much lesser player. And now you are stuck in the situation that you were in, where you have a team with, on paper, that looks like it should contend with Ben Simmons, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, but because the rest of that roster is fluff, you're not going to, And look what happened in LA. Same exact thing. On paper, on paper, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook on paper should be a great team, but they can't even get a win. And the reason why these teams cannot get a win is because they are both facing the exact same situation. LeBron opts into another max when he knows he's at the tail end of his career. KD opts into another max knowing that he's coming off of a career-threatening style injury. Both of these players go and eat up their team's salary cap. So now the teams can't build out actual role players. They can't go get a bevy of $10 and $15 million players to help stack out the team. They got to go get bargain basement players to fill out all of their rotation because LeBron and KD, they want all their money from past performance, even though they've been getting paid out of their ears the whole time. So because of injuries and reduced effectiveness on both of them, their salaries have them overpaid. They are overpaid players at this point who cannot contribute to winning. And because they have both hamstrung their franchises to basically have no future, barely any picks, neither team has any real continuity because they keep shuffling players around on their team. They eat up their salary cap, so they can't even sign actual adequate help to even build out a full 5-man roster, let alone a 10-man. And then they go off and leverage all of their influence and continue to stand in this shaky ground that they are presently in while the rest of the league is blasting past them. And you don't think so? Well, let's look at the league. What team are they actually going to beat? What team are they legitimately going to actually be a threat to defeat? Are the Lakers better than the Kings? Nope. Bulls, Raptors, Knicks, Pelicans, Grizzlies, Mavs, Hawks, Trailblazers, Jazz, Nuggets, Cavs, Suns, Clippers, Bucks. Oh, wait, and the Warriors. Are the Brooklyn Nets better than any of those teams? They might be a step ahead of the Lakers in their ability to maybe beat some of those teams, but that's half the league. These teams are on the bottom half of the league, and they are saddled with salary cap misery, and they all have no future. Meanwhile, all of these other teams that I just named have younger stars, more continuity. They have better, more balanced rosters, and they are not overpaying diva players. We must face it, y'all. The LeBron era, the KD era, those two being argued as the number one and number two players in the NBA, and what does that mean for the balance of power and all of that sports center crap? It's over. It is 100% over, and we are simply going to watch both LeBron and KD unfortunately fade out into the nothingness, while all of these new faces are going to get better, are going to get stronger, and are going to get more reps. And they're also going to do so with the same teammates that they had before. So they got soldiers on their squad who can actually help finish off LeBron and KD's diva style madness of their generation, of their play with my friends, of their AAU style of NBA basketball. It's over, y'all. So get ready, because the new faces are here and they will be emerging and taking over the league very, very, very soon. So regardless of the fact that LeBron and KD and all of this stuff are always on ESPN and always on Fox every day, fam, it's over. High value basketball. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Peace.